All right, my fellow and future Houstonians, today we are going to tour Pearland, Texas. If you were thinking about moving to Pearland or you already live in Pearland and you wanted to let me know your opinions on it, I would like to hear it in the comments down below. Let's talk about it. No, but seriously, I'm going to share some of my experiences, some of my opinions, and a little bit of guidance on, if you're looking to move to Pearland, what kind of side you should be looking at, because the east side and the west side, two totally different flavors, but we're going to dive deeper into that. If you have any real estate needs, please contact us. I will put my QR code right here, and you can reach out to us, text, email, phone call, carrier pigeon, whatever works for you, whether you're looking to move to Texas, from Texas, in Texas, to Idaho, whatever. We got referral partners all over America. Reach out to us. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. So we are actually starting on the old side of Pearland here. I actually live pretty close to here, so I'm pretty biased. You can see that we already passed the Starbucks. There's another coffee joint that just opened up over there. If there's one thing that Pearland is kind of getting known for lately, it's definitely going to be the amount of coffee shops that we have here. I don't know if people in Pearland are just a little bit sleepier than your average city, but man, we are just getting these coffee shops popping up all over the place. One of my favorite pho restaurants is right over here. We actually just opened up a Whataburger that you just saw on the left there. That opened up last month in December of 2025. So yeah, this side of Pearland's a little bit older, a little bit, it's kind of a good mix between older retirees. You also have a lot of younger families over here. So I like this area a lot. It's pretty quiet. And then you'll see Magnolia Cajun Comfort over here on the right-hand side. Really great restaurant. We go in there for lunch and dinner all the time. Anytime that we have friends and family visit us from out of town, that's one of our staples to go eat dinner at. It is just phenomenal. Doglegs Golf Lounge just opened up there on the right. Probably like earlier 2025, I think it was. Might have been later 2024. Pretty fun place if you're hosting an event. They have a bunch of bays in there that you can hit. Golf simulators. They got food, drinks, all the things that you could want to do to entertain for people. Have an equestrian center over there on the left, hired hands, massage therapy right there on the left as well. I like that place a lot. If you go there, ask for Tanya. She is phenomenal. She is just a healer. Got Pearland Pediatrics over here on the right for the sick kiddos. Hopefully you don't have to spend a lot of time in there, but they are really fast and friendly, and we've had a lot of positive experiences there. Really like that place a lot. You can see we have the fire department here on the right as well. Obviously important. It's kind of funny. There's always a John boat in the parking lot over there. So I don't know if one of the firefighters is, using it for his personal storage or what's going on. One of the most famous restaurants here in the Houston area right there we just passed, called Gringo's. That is the original Gringo's right now. That is the original Gringo's. And it is just phenomenal. I've actually never been to another Gringo's because I don't really see the point in going to another Gringo's, because they got that one just so right. I need to find out some more information on what this school is that just opened up right here. They just finished construction with that. This area is just booming. I mean, Pearland is one of the fastest growing cities in the Houston suburbs. And it feels like we're kind of running out of space. So that's another big reason why, like League City, Alvin even, kind of these surrounding areas as well, they have a lot more newer construction options. But we have a really great new construction community opening up right here, kind of in this immediate area, called Alexander. It's being offered by D.R. Horton. If you stay tuned, we're actually going to be doing some work with them here shortly. So pretty excited about that. You can see we just passed the green tea community there on the right. I really like that area. Beautiful golf course, private membership, of course. Just a huge country club. Really nice. So we're kind of getting into like the more like, hustle bustle area here over on this side of Pearland. And we are just exploding with gyms and retail opportunity out here. I believe some of this land right here on the left is for sale for more commercial development. Over here in this shopping center, we just had Crunch Fitness open up. Pretty nice. I actually joined them myself. Over here as well, you got Torchy's Tacos. Another pretty big like staple in this area. If you go over there, go see Natalie. She works behind the bar. She is a freaking goddess with the drinks. She makes a mean margarita. But yeah, Crunch Fitness is pretty nice. I've been going there for a little over a month now, pretty much since, I mean, literally since they opened up, and really great facility. I like the saunas up there. I got a great like active area where you can do like more than, I mean, obviously they have a bunch of deadlifting platforms and everything, but just a ton of things to do for a great price. Childcare is included in their package that we have, and it's really nice. Kids enjoy going in there. There's a movie theater that they really like playing with the other kids at. So we're going to take a little drive through this little shopping center over here. Like I said, this is one of the main shopping areas over here. This is Pearland Plaza. There's a restaurant in here that I really like as well called Center Court Pizza, and it is delicious. I always get their buffalo shrimp and really enjoy it. If you go a little bit further up, it pretty much just turns into like proper Houston. You run into the Sam Houston Tollway. Little bit more commercial development up there, but there's a Whataburger up there. Really nice movie theater as well. I like that area. We don't go up there a ton. Kind of in this area of Pearland, this is really kind of the main spot. So if it doesn't have what you need over here, you're really kind of going to like League City, you're going to Friendswood, you're going to, kind of just to that area in general. So this is kind of like a funky area because we're so far away from what a lot of people know as Pearland, more modernized, that, we're just kind of far away from it. So it's actually closer to go to some of your neighboring cities. So as you can just saw on there on the right, we got a Planet Fitness over here. They just built that about 2 years ago. Another nice gym. I joined there for a little while. And a good problem to have is I actually got too strong for Planet Fitness. They didn't have dumbbells that went up to the weights that I needed. So, I was pretty proud of that. I literally outgrew a gym because I was maxing out all the machines. So, woohoo. Got Chipotle over there. Always go to lunch meetings there with my buddy Roland. He's another commercial realtor in the area. Phenomenal guy. Love him to death, man. He's also one of my golf buddies. And we just have a good time every time we're together and talk strategy, talk family, and just a solid guy. One of the people that you definitely want in your corners. One of my favorite things about Texas, H-E-B, baby. I don't know. People talk about Publix in Florida and that they have a cult-like following. And if they can top H-E-B, props to them. They just redid this H-E-B over here on the old side of Pearland. And they actually completed construction December of 2024. And they did a great job with it, which when they told me they were remodeling it, I was still pretty new to the area at the time, to Texas in general. And when they told me they were remodeling that H-E-B, I was like, what are you talking about, man? That H-E-B is already incredible and you're going to make it better? I don't know. That was pretty exciting. But that was one of my first tastes of Texas culture that really drew us here. And I don't foresee us doing it, but in the event that we didn't continue our lives here in Texas, man, H-E-B would be one of the things that I miss. If we were to take a left down here, you would run into the YMCA. And then, funny enough, if you take a left at that YMCA, there's also an LA Fitness. I joined that LA Fitness when I first moved to Texas. I liked it a lot, but their equipment could use some improvement. So if anybody from upper management is watching, man, come on, let's go remodel. I think they actually had a remodel scheduled when I was talking to the GM there, but they ended up building a new location in Missouri City that just delayed their remodel. So they do have a remodel in the works, but no official release date, as of last that I've heard. So like I said, Pearland's just really known for its like kind of quiet suburban feel, really great for families. And you really notice that when you see so many of the parks that we have here. I mean, we have Independence Park, we have Tom Bass Park, we have Centennial Park, and we also have a bunch of inclusive parks. And they're actually planning to turn Independence Park, which is really kind of a big staple on this side of town. I mean, we do so many community events here, so many holiday events, so many vendor events. They're actually going to expand the lake, or now it's a pond, but they're going to expand the pond into a lake, and then they're actually going to develop out more playground space, and they're going to include an all-inclusive playground. So they're going to have like handicap accessible playgrounds. That's what I was trying to say there. But yeah, just the quality of life here in Pearland is phenomenal. I mean, even on this side, you still have such an abundance of things to do and places to eat, places to shop, that it's just a really nice balance between accessibility and, quality of life while having that quiet feel. And that's one thing I like. One of the downsides about Pearland, which is not really uncommon in a lot of Houston suburbs, is, it's just not a very walkable area. So you're going to be either dependent on having a car or having to take advantage of like rideshare programs. There's not, really any options as far as public transport. So if that's important to you, not really going to be the best area. So now we're going to drive over to the west side of Pearland. I guess some people would call it like New Pearland, anything like that. And there's a couple of different like main roads that we can take to go over there. We have Magnolia, we have McCard as well. I think for the purpose of this, I think it'd be most beneficial. We're going to take Broadway all the way down. And if you look here on the right, you will see Killen's Barbecue. Man, I tell you, if you move to this side of Pearland or you visit Texas, if you come to Pearland and you go to Killen's Barbecue and you didn't even think about moving here, be careful, because they're going to get you in hook, line, and sinker. That place is phenomenal. There's only one other place in Texas so far, or at least in Houston, that I've had that really rivaled Killen's Barbecue, and it was called the Pit Room up in like downtown Houston area. And it's hard to compare them apples to apples because the Pit Room has like some tacos and some other menu items that, Killen's just doesn't have. Killen's is more like, straight up like just barbecue. It's going to have your sausages, going to have your ribs, going to have smoked turkey, going to have pulled pork, things like that. And the sides are phenomenal, of course. But, if you're looking for more like, variety in your menu options, Pit Room is going to be different. So it's hard to say one's better than the other because they are kind of different at the end of the day. So now, crossing over the tracks here, we're getting more into that, west side of Pearland. And not right here, obviously, but you can just see that we're starting to open up a little bit here. I like this side of Pearland. We actually looked at moving over here not too long ago, but we decided we didn't want to move out of our current school districts. We're in the Pearland High School District, which is another big reason why people like Pearland so much, is because their school districts are highly rated here. I mean, I don't think we have any schools in Pearland that are under a B rating. So people just rave about these schools. I mean, if your worst school is rated a B, B plus, something like that, I mean, I think that's just speaks volumes about the local areas. I like Pearland too because we're really diverse in what we have to offer. Even for being a small town of like 125,000 people, which doesn't sound small compared to where I'm from. I mean, that was a 52-mile long county with a population of like 50,000. So Pearland is half the size of that, but double the population. So to me, Pearland is not a small town. But for being a small town, in the grand scheme of things compared to Houston, it's actually really diverse. I mean, there's so much to do, so much variety as far as food, so much variety as far as like even just their cultures of people, which I really like. So that's just a great thing to have, is the diversity and different points of view on things, and makes it fun. I will say one of the downsides of Pearland, and this is not uncommon in the greater Houston area, property taxes here are a little bit higher just because of all the development going on, just because of the overall expansion that Pearland is dealing with. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but when we get over closer to this west side that I keep talking about, I mean, you're just going to see so much stuff being built. I mean, it is crazy at all the commercial development out here. There's also apartments going up, townhomes going up, and it's just exploding. Got the Chamber of Commerce over here. I have a buddy that works a lot over here. His name is William Garay. He is a business and leadership coach here in the area. Just a phenomenal individual. I'm proud to call him one of my friends. And he hosts a lot of events over here at the Chamber, and always a good time being around him. But yeah, talking about the high property taxes here in Pearland, another thing that goes with that is going to be the windstorm insurance. Now, that's not a Pearland specific thing. That's actually a lot of places here in the Texas area that we have the windstorm insurance. Anywhere in Brazoria County is going to have it, but oftentimes the windstorm insurance is actually more than your homeowner's policy, which coming from an area that I didn't know about that, I mean, that's a big deal because, I mean, you're talking an extra 2 or 3 grand a year, just for another insurance policy. Thankfully, the homeowner's insurance policies, they're actually not that much. I think ours is like $800 or $1,200. Obviously, results may vary. I'm not your financial coach, so don't hold me to that or sue me if you have a different home insurance policy. If not, I don't know, reach out to me. I'll give you my guide. We'll talk. But that actually leads into another big pro of Pearland, which is the obvious, is the fact that it's in Texas. So I talk about the inflated expenses, as far as that goes. But I mean, one of the benefits of Texas is there's no state income tax. So you're going to see a little bit more into your checking account coming from your checks and a little less going to the government in that way. Honestly, this is my unbiased opinion here, but it's probably all a wash when you compare the property taxes, because property taxes in Texas are higher, than some other states. I mean, the states that I come from, I think the property taxes there are like 0.7, versus here like 2.4 is kind of the average for the Houston area. So I'm sure you could see we just passed some commercial development, even more going on up here. One of the other downsides I would say about, Pearland specifically, and this is really pronounced when you get to like Katy, Texas, is the current development is kind of outpacing the infrastructure here. So the traffic at some of the intersections can be a little excessive around peak times. So some shopping centers or some intersections that you're trying to access, I mean, you're probably talking like a 5-minute backup sometimes, which if you're going through two or more of those intersections, I mean, that's adding like 10, 15 minutes to your commute. So you can just see this area that I was just talking about. I mean, this is a lot of commercial development. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of square feet over here. So I'm really excited to see. I don't know if that's going to be like a business park. I don't know if it's going to be retail. So that's probably something I need to do, is get into the chamber and kind of figure out what the plans are over here. So we talked briefly about the parks over here, but let's talk about some of the other things to do here in Pearland. We also have a nature center. We have a train museum. We also have a Bass Pro. It is one of the only 2 Bass Pro shops here in the Houston area. So that just kind of shows the amount of business that Pearland is willing to take on, that a major vendor like Bass Pro is willing to open up and keep its shop open here. I mean, that just shows the financial stability of Pearland and the economic potential. Got Sprouts grocery store over here. I've heard great things about Sprouts. I've actually never been into one. I kind of find it difficult to stray away from HEB, as you probably noticed from my 5 or 10 minute tangent about HEB and my love for it. Some of the other things to do here in Pearland that I like, I mean, obviously being a father, having 2 small kids, is there's just so much to do for the kids. I mean, we have so many bounce houses, we have so many gymnastics places, we have dance places. I mean, there's all these parks that I talk about. They're always hosting some kind of sports there. So over at Centennial Park, they have multiple baseball fields, they have multiple soccer fields, and that's really going to be like one of your major hubs for kids sports. So, I harp on that suburban family feel for Pearland, and you can just see it in the amenities that we offer here in the city. Like I said, there's just pretty much it feels like every shopping center, I swear, has something to do for kids. So that's one of the things I like. Rainy day, cold day, whatever. If you don't want to leave your house, that's one thing. But if you do want to leave your house and you got nothing to do, I mean, yeah, we have a wide variety of parks, and thankfully the Texas weather, it's pretty mild year round, so we're not going to have like a lot of 25-degree days. I say that as we just came out of a freeze, but that's like a one-off event. It seems to happen every year. 3 or 4 days a year, it'll get down to like 17, and everybody loses their mind, and it's kind of funny. But it doesn't have to be a perfect day in order for you to get some energy out for your kids. Another new shopping center just opened up over here. I actually think every single place over there, except for one, is a restaurant. And we got Hash Kitchen over there, which is a big brunch restaurant that people rave about. And I'm excited to try it. I've heard their food is phenomenal. I know on my side of town we have Stella's, another great brunch restaurant. But like I said, it's just it's quicker to go to Stella's or even somewhere in Friendswood than to come over here. So I tend to just stay on my side or even a little bit further south. Talk about the property taxes. We talk about the high insurance, but on the other hand of that, you have all the benefits that we've talked about as far as like having that affordability, of having the family feel, of having that quiet suburban feel. But when you look at the price per square foot of homes here, they're actually pretty low. When you get over to the east side of Pearland, they get a little bit higher. That place is a little bit more in demand, and I think a lot of that has to do with yeah, the school systems in Pearland for the most part are phenomenal, but they're just rated a little bit higher on that east side. So when you get over here to the west side of Pearland, which still a phenomenal area, I would live over here in a heartbeat. The price per square foot goes down a little bit. So you can actually get a really sweet house over here. I mean, I'm talking like, pushing 3,000 square foot with a pool for like right around like 550, somewhere in there. So when you compare that to a lot of areas in Houston, I mean, that's just a great price, to be still somewhere that's going to be in like, great school systems, still going to have quick access. I mean, we have a lot of medical professionals that live here in Pearland, especially on this west side of Pearland, because it's so easy to drive up 288 to get up into the medical center of Houston, which I'm sure is one of the largest medical centers in the country, if not the world. So, a lot of medical professionals on this side of town. So we're coming up here on 288 here in a couple miles, and this intersection isn't too bad, but you can just start to see that we're going to start hitting some, a little bit more congestion over here. But this is kind of getting into the busiest side of Pearland. So over here, we're going to have like, your bigger stores like Costco, going to have a lot of department stores, just a ton of outlets and strip centers over here. I mean, as far as entertainment, or any necessities you might need. I mean, if you're on this side of Pearland, I mean, there's not much of anything that you're not going to be able to find. I mean, there's everything over here, unless you're looking for like, something crazy like a Cartier store or Fendi or something like that. We're going to have about every necessity you could possibly want over here. So we talk about accessibility to like Med Center, downtown Houston, Houston proper. One of the other nice things about Pearland is, while having all of that, small town feel to it, is we're actually really accessible to, some of your biggest like tourist attractions here in the Houston area. I mean, we got NASA, we got Kima Boardwalk, we got Galveston, so like a quick trip down to Galveston, I mean, you're only talking like a 45-minute drive. And for a good, nice like beach trip without having to get an Airbnb or hotels or something like that, quick turnaround. I mean, to me, Pearland is just great. That was actually one of the biggest reasons why we picked Pearland specifically, is because, coming from the East Coast, living a mile from the ocean, we're kind of a beach fam. And, if you know me, or if you know my kids, like, we're water bugs, man. If we see water, we're in it, unless there's like alligators or something in there. Ugh, I'm good on that. But I don't know. It was kind of like that perfect mix of being right smack dab in the middle of being accessible to Houston and being accessible to Galveston. So that was a big deal for us personally. So that was one of the biggest reasons that we picked Pearland. And then, as we were just here, we just, fell in love with it. And Friendswood would be a close contender for us to live in, maybe like right on that border of like Friendswood, League City even. That would be another close contender. I actually did a drive around Friendswood a couple weeks ago. So if you want to see that video, we'll post a link here so you can see that. Krispy Kreme donuts, that must be new. I didn't know that was here. As I'm sure you've heard me say in other videos, 2026, baby, I'm turning this dad bod into a rad bod, so I cannot go to that Krispy Kreme, and that breaks my heart. But it is what it is. Another big perk that I like about Pearland is we have these huge master plan communities. Shadow Creek, I think, is probably one of the most noticeable ones that you'll probably heard of. But another thing that I like is there's a lot of outside of all the parks. I mean, there's obviously a lot to do outdoors here, but there's a lot of golf courses in the area. And I play Pearland Golf Club probably the most. They have a great anniversary membership there. It's like $225 for the year, and that waives you, or pretty much buys all your green fees up front. So if you play like, more 4 or 5 times a year at that course, I mean, it really pays for itself. But pretty much all of the major golf clubs in Pearland have some sort of deal like that to make it a little bit more affordable, a little bit more accessible, so you can really take advantage of a lot of the things in Pearland, even without spending a ton of money. I mean, even some of the bounce houses that we go to, I mean, we're talking like $30, for two kids, which is not bad considering they like to play there for almost 2 hours. So when you break it down, $7 and some change for an hour, to entertain some kids and really crash them out for a nap. I mean, that's a win all day, and that seems to be kind of the average pricing. So Pearland, is really affordable, and that's really what adds to the quality of life in Pearland, in my opinion. That was one of the big things that I liked about Texas when we first moved in here. I was like, the fact that we have no state income tax, the fact that your cost of living was cheaper or just more affordable. I know a lot of people don't like that cheaper word. It is what it is. I don't know. I'm a pretty raw guy. I don't have a lot of fluff. I'm pretty cut and dry, straight to the point type. But between that, gas is cheaper in Texas. The groceries are a little bit cheaper in Texas. And a lot of the things to do in Texas are just a little bit more affordable. I don't know. I just think the quality of life, and then you get into an area like this where the houses are a little bit more affordable, and you get a nice bang for your buck as far as that goes. It just really ranks highly on that quality of life scale that I talk about so much. Oh, there's a kava right there. I love kava. Go in there and get the lamb meatballs with some jasmine rice. Oof, now we're talking. I'm getting hungry now. A lot of churches in Pearland too. We're pretty big into our church. Crosspoint Church is where we go, but there's a lot of options as far as churches goes. And the churches here, they just have a great community feel. There's plenty of volunteer opportunities if that's what you're into. So can really give back to a community that I just feel that just gives so much to its residents. Pretty much at all these parks, I talked about some of the events that they do, and it's like every single weekend you either have a farmer's market going on, you have some kind of vendor event. So I don't know, that's another thing, and I know I keep harping on it, but just the quality of life in Pearland to me is just so incredible because there's just always something to do, there's just always somewhere to go, and a lot of it's outdoors, and I'm really big on that. All right, let's pop a little Yui here. I don't think I've made a video yet where we didn't pop a Yui. That was a little sketchy, so, let's have some fun, people. All right, cutting across Magnolia Parkway. It's one of the major sections I was telling you about, or one of the major roadways that could access the east and west side to each other. Like I said, Broadway, FM 528, it's going to have the most amount of just variety and things you might need along the way. So if you want to stop at Sonic and get a cherry limeade, I know my wife cannot leave the house without getting a cherry limeade, and I love her for it. They're delicious. But if you're looking for stuff like that, go down Broadway. McCarr doesn't really have a lot. That's definitely going to be more of like a residential area. So kind of pick what you need as far as that goes. I'm sure in time this is going to be more commercial development right here as the city expands even further. A lot of storage places have been popping up lately. Obviously, you get a mass influx of people. And as they start to develop out more apartments, more townhouses, the necessity for those just go up. And then a lot of people host their businesses out of there as well. I've heard of people like setting up studios in there for filming. I don't know if I would do that, even in the climate controlled ones. I don't know. It's just kind of sketchy in my opinion. Beep, beep. Shout out Allied Fire Protection. Also Pearland PD over on the left. There's a pretty great recruiter for Pearland PD. His name is James White. I actually met him at a chamber event a couple months ago. Super nice guy. I have no desire kind of to get back into the world of law enforcement, but he was just so charismatic. I was like, man, if he would have tried a little bit harder, who knows what would have happened. Just a good guy. All right, so now we're going to take a right here into Pearland Town Center. And just another one of those major areas, like I said, that there's not much that you're going to need. There's not going to be over here. I mean, you got restaurants, you got department stores. I mean, you have about everything you want over in this area. I like the Barnes & Noble over here. It's really nice. Let's go check out another Gringos. It's not the original, but we're not going to fault them for it. I actually just remodeled the original Gringos over by me on the east side. Looks really nice. They did a phenomenal job over there. If Gringos is on too long of a wait, another good restaurant over there is going to be, sorry about that, that was my fault, is going to be Casa Ole. My buddy Corky actually owns that one over in Pearland, and super nice guy. Actually, a funny story how we met them. We went to a wine and dine night over at Magnolia Cajun Kitchen, the one that we passed earlier in the video, and they actually sat us with a random couple, and they had like all these courses that were pre-planned out for you, and then they had wine pairings with them. We got paired up with Corky and his wife, and just sweet people, man. We had such a great time. We were so like nervous when we first sat down because we were like, dude, we paid all this money to come do this event, and you want to sit us at a 4-seater table with 2 strangers? I was like, that's a little unsettling, but you know, what a blessing in disguise to just get out and meet people that you clicked with so well. And that was just a really, what I thought was going to be a daunting experience turned into a pleasant experience. So that was a nice surprise. So we're kind of on the backside of Pearland Town Center here, so you can see all these apartments going up. A lot of new construction, just like I said, further development into the area. So let's get over into the main part of Pearland Town Center here. I'm gonna speed jump here real quick. Come on, old girl, you can do it. I got faith in you. There you go, crushing it, crushing it. All right, so we are getting into Pearland Town Center here. This little main area right here, they actually do a lot of concerts during the summertime, during the spring, kind of kick off the season. But this area is really nice. You can just park your car, kind of walk around, see what the area has to offer. Obviously some food courts over here where you can get some food and really just hang out in this area. Let your kids play out in the lawn over here. I like this area a lot. It's really mellow. You can see kids riding their scooters, playing around here. Really nice. Like I said, just Pearland is just so family focused. I love that about Pearland. Got Express over here. Got Segura Western Wear. Actually seen some of their promos online. They're killing it in their social media game, if I'm seeing it, because I'm not a cowboy hat leather wearing cowboy. I haven't bought down that store yet, or haven't bought into that aspect of Texas yet. You still have all your big stores over here. You still got Macy's, still got Dillard's, Uniform, and more. I believe they have like scrubs for like medical professionals, just like we talked about earlier. A lot of medical professionals in this area. Dick's Sporting Goods right here. This is actually where I bought my first set of golf clubs when I moved to Texas, and set of Top Flights, a real beginner set. I no longer have them. I am still horrible at golf, but now I have professional clubs and I look a little bit better doing it. So shout out to Ping. I have devoted my loyalty to Ping golf clubs. Another thing I like about this general area is Houston actually has one of the biggest car scenes in America outside. I think Vegas obviously leads them. No surprise there. But, you know, those people got to live somewhere. So it's not uncommon to see some really cool cars here in Pearland. Over at the Pearland Plaza strip center that we went to before, you know, we headed over to the west side, they actually do like a cars and coffee deal there. I think it's every Saturday, but you can go there see some cool classic cars, and they'll let you look at them and take pictures and sit in them, and just a really neat event that I think is really cool. And like I said, Pearland is just so focused on community, so the fact that people do that so frequently, it just really adds to it. Over here, we got Barnes and Noble, we got a Body Bar over here, and no shortage of gyms in Pearland, which is really nice. Got to get your workout on. Let's just keep straight and see what's going on over here. Fish City Grill. I've heard great things about them. I heard they have really good seafood burritos. I need to go check that place out here soon. If y'all have made it this far and you're interested in me to start kind of showcasing local businesses here in the Houston area, I am not opposed. Comment local business down below, and that is something I will start doing just for you, my friend. So you can see you got Champs, got GameStop, got Aeropostale over here. Pretty much all the stores that you would find in your normal mall, just, an outdoor mall. Because, like I said, Pearland is really focused on kind of that outdoor nice feel, taking advantage of what we have here in Houston, which is most of the time pretty nice weather. Spencer's got Salons by JC. I don't know if that's like a big franchise. They're not really common where I'm from, but it's basically like a giant salon that has like, not cubicles, but it has little setups where people can run their own businesses out of there. So they just lease that space from the store, and then they operate their own business within. So when you go to Salons by JC, you're not necessarily going to Salons by JC. You're actually going to some, mom and pop kind of ordeal where they just operate out of that one big space, so that it just makes it a little bit more affordable for these cosmetologists and barbers and stylists and whatnot, so they don't have all these like major upfront expenses of leasing like a large commercial space that maybe either has too much space or it's just not the right fit. Then they got to worry about staffing. So a lot of people in there are just going to be kind of like your independent operators that have kind of outgrown paying chair fees at a normal salon, but also need something a little bit more personal, a little bit more professional setup. So pretty neat. Which is kind of funny because when I first moved to Pearland, I felt like I had the biggest problem finding a barbershop. Goodness gracious. And I was like, where I'm from, dude, there's barbershops on every corner. I was like, I couldn't throw a rock back home without, hitting a barbershop. Versus when I moved here, opposite problem. And I found out is because, Salons by JC exists and they're all just like centralized. So one problem with that to me, and this is my opinion, obviously, but I have been in business and sales for a long time, is when I was looking it up, barber near me in Google Maps or whatever, it was just popping up Salons by JC. I'm a dude, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go to a salon. I want to go to a barbershop. Nothing against. I mean, I've had plenty of salons in the past. Cosmetologists cut my hair, and it turns out phenomenal. I'm actually overdue for a haircut right now, but let's not talk about that. But I didn't realize what Salons by JC was until I physically went there and was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on, but nobody had availability. So I ended up finding another barbershop on the east side of Pearland called The Original Fanatics. And Mandy over there, now she's on the main road location off of 35, but they are incredible. I've not had a stylist there that I was not just a giant fan of and that did phenomenal work. I don't know, you tell me. So over there, you probably just saw we passed an HEB Plus. Just when you thought HEB couldn't get any better, they open up an HEB Plus. I don't know. That place is overwhelming, overstimulating. I mean, like, imagine Walmart, but like better. And I guess they don't sell ammo. But seems like most Walmarts now don't sell ammo anyway, which is really disappointing. But different story for a different video. So we're coming up on Memorial Herman over here. Coming over into the Shadow Creek Business Center. So we'll start to see a little bit more, smaller office, not as much retail space over here. More land right here for sale for commercial development. I'm sure there'll be another medical facility there. A lot of med spas out here as well, which is really nice. You can pretty much go anywhere and get your facial treatments, get your spray tans, any kind of beauty necessities like that is not necessarily like a salon thing, but more of like a medical space. Obviously, I'm not as versed on that as I could be because I don't partake in things like that for what I think might be obvious reasons. Just past Sam's Club. There's also a Costco over here. So yeah, this side of Pearland is really just going to be more suited for families who need to commute to Houston. Maybe you don't work in the immediate Pearland area. Maybe you have to commute to Houston for medical work or, just something that maybe in a high rise, something like that. So that's who the West Side's going to be a little bit more focused for, is for families like that. Little baby Bucky's over here. It's so cute. We need a real Bucky's. Somebody should start a petition. Let's get a real Bucky's in Pearland. That's really what's going to put us on the map here. I hope that you enjoyed today's video about, Pearland, Texas. If you want to see more like this, if you want to see me do a full drive about Houston, if you want to see me start to highlight some local businesses in the area, it's something I'm absolutely open to do. It's something that we want to provide to you if you're looking to relocate to Houston, or if you're looking to move somewhere specifically like Pearland, Friendswood, League City, any of the other major suburbs here in Texas. Just comment local business down below. Reach out to us if there's anything more we can do for you. We'd love to help you out on your real estate needs. We have a whole real estate team ready to go for you, ready to serve you in the highest capacity, and we will see you next time. Cheers.